Right, so this is my research methods presentation, and in this I'm going to be going through the consequences that researchers will face if they don't abide by sort of ethical and legal considerations. Right, so as you've seen before, this is scenario one, where a group of participants are selected to take part in a study. The study is then basically about how substances will affect performance. The group are sort of split in half. One group gets offered the substance that will aid with performance and told what will happen when they take the substance, whereas the other part of the group are not told what the substance is or what it does, and are still forced to take it. This group are then forced to work to exhaustion. The results are then published to the other group without their permission, and yeah. Alright, so one of the consequences that will happen is due to the fact that they're sort of deceiving their clients where they're not telling them what the substance is. So in this, they'll lose sort of the confidence of the group. They might not be trusted, things like that. This will also be a trust issue when they're sharing the information. It might also come down to a legal issue as well because it's not looking at client confidentiality. So that will be broken here, which could cause the researcher or the leader of the project to be sued and taken to court because the person might not like their personal information being shared. They might think it's wrong of them to do, things like that. So yeah, moving on to the next. Scenario 2, a group of people are again chosen to see how P&F stretching affects performance of a set routine. The coach gets the participants to do a set routine, but then changes it halfway through. Because in this statement or scenario, there is no indication that the person leading the P&F stretching or doing the P&F stretching is actually qualified in it. Because, for instance, in this scenario, it could be the coach or the researcher doing the P&F stretching. It doesn't say that they're qualified at all. So because of this, injury might occur to any of the participants because either the coach or the researcher might perform the P&F stretching wrong. So say a participant got injured, they might take the researcher to court as sort of negligence during their research project, as they haven't fully thought about everyone that they need to be there to take part in the experiment. Another consequence they could possibly have during the scenario of not performing everything to the correct standard would be the fact that they change the routine halfway through. So this would basically mean the participants would probably lose confidence and respect in the researcher. Then the researcher themselves will have, the company that they might work for, that they might be doing the research for, they'll lose confidence and they won't be reliant on that person to do good research in the future, because they will know they just mess around, they don't really think about what they're doing beforehand. And also, in some sense, it makes the results that they were trying to obtain sort of invalid, as they obviously weren't looking for those set results if they changed the way that they're performing the drills halfway through, or changing completely the drill itself. So it'd end up being something completely different. So they might say they wanted to see what score they could get doing a floor routine, but then change the routine completely so it would be they're up on the bars and seeing what score they get there. Where in fact they were trying to originally work out what they would be able to do in a floor routine. Right, so moving on to the next one. There are a group of volunteers that are told that they'll be doing a floor routine, however they are not told what they're doing. The group are then forced to work to exhaustion, and basically just to see what they can do when they're exhausted and how well they can perform. So basically the first thing you can pick out is sort of again negligence or sort of scientific misconduct in the fact that they're not really told what they're going to do, so it's not really the best way to start it, as they have no idea what they're actually trying to achieve, because there isn't really any clear benefit of knowing how well that you can perform when exhausted, because you tend to be exhausted after you've finished a performance. Again, this this also goes against sort of everyone's human rights by forcing them to do something that they might not want to do. So again, you could be taken to court or be sued, as you've put someone in a situation that they don't actually willingly want to be in. Again, this is it's sort of, and you also lose respect to the participants if you're shouting at them shouting at them and forcing them to do something that they necessarily don't want to do. It could potentially just mean that they don't want to work with you ever again. They might complain about you to your superior, something like that, which then might mean that you were not allowed to take part in further investigations, something like that. Right, so moving on to the final one. A group of people are selected to be participants and told that they're each doing a set drill. However, this is then changed to a completely different drill, and after this drill, when the results are obtained, the researcher finds that there are not some results that they actually wanted to gather from this, so then they decide to leave them out when doing the report on the tests. So one of the main things I can pick out on this is the fact that scientific misconduct says you're not reporting the correct results that you've actually obtained, which then, if, say, BASES found out about this, that you are basically lying in your experiments, maybe just to shine a good light on yourself, you could then lose your BASES accreditation, which would basically mean that all of the big companies that might want research done for them in their specific area or something, or any area, in fact, they probably would choose not to hire you for this, or believe any research that you ever do again, as you've lost your BASES accreditation, and people just think that everything you're doing and every bit of research you have ever done is just a load of rubbish, and that you've just made it up just so it makes you personally look good. Yeah, so that's it basically.